Under no circumstances do I want you to leave that couch, unless it's to get me $9,000, and then you bring it here to me, okay?
Okay. You know, I think things are going to be all right now, Joe.
Oh? And what makes you think that?
Who knows where thoughts come from? They just appear.
Hey, Gila.
How you doing?
I am well.
I am so glad to hear that. And if I could be the first to wish you a happy Rex Manning Day.
Happy Rex Manning Day?
Happy Rex Manning Day. Honey, we are not even going to pretend that I haven't decided what we're watching today.
Okay, but something else we're not going to pretend is... This is episode 202.
This is episode 202.
Of Modern Technology Watches.
Of Modern Technology Watches.
But this is not the first episode 202 that we've done.
Wait, are we in a time warp?
Let's do the time warp.
Again?
No, we attempted an episode, dear listeners, of this very podcast. And I chose a movie, and we watched the movie, and afterward we talked about the movie, and...
We didn't have a lot to say.
Well, we didn't have a lot to say that would be interesting to listen to. The episode did not work. It was canceled, but I will tell you that there is a Japanese movie called Funky Forest, The First Contact, and if you've ever got a chance to pick a movie to show Gila Havadrezen, pick something else. I like the movie, she didn't. That's about the size of it, and we weren't going to make you listen to an hour-long conversation that basically amounted to that. So...
Yeah, that is very true. So, we officially now have a lost episode.
Yeah, not lost so much as just thrown in the garbage. A discarded episode. So we're doing this over again, but, it's no longer my pick. It wouldn't be fair to the spirit of what we're doing for me to just go pick something else. So it is Gila's turn.
It is Gila's turn, and I am very excited to tell you that here's the movie, honey.
And you have handed me Empire Records.
I have handed you Empire Records.
Remix Special Fan Edition.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Now, this is a movie you've spoken a lot about.
I have, yes.
It's been a running thing in this relationship because every so often you would ask me, have you seen Empire Records? And I would tell you no. And then,
I would forget and ask you again.
Yeah, and then I would tell you, no, not since the last time you asked me. I haven't seen Empire Records. So, this is Empire Records.
This is Empire Records. This movie is 25 years old.
25 years old.
Yes.
All right, this is the DVD for Empire Records, the Remix Special Fan Edition.
With 16 extra minutes.
With 16 extra minutes. And according to the back of this DVD, this is a state-of-the-art Empire amped up with more movie, music, and extras. Okay, that refers to the remix type stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess from the cast photo on the front here that this is another school movie.
No, it is not a school movie.
Okay, it looks a heck of a lot like one.
It's not a school movie.
It looks like that kind of cast.
Yes, but it's not a school movie.
Let's see. All right. The description from the back here. This comedy cult sensation about the young slackers and dreamers that hang around a local record store cranks it up another notch in an awesome special fan edition with 16 minutes of cool added footage not seen in theaters. In one of the most dynamic song scores ever, tunes by Gin Blossoms, The Cranberries, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Cracker, Evan Dando, Better Than Ezra, and more set off virtually every scene. If the music isn't enough, check out the stellar cast including Liv Tyler, Renee Zellweger, Anthony LaPaglia, Maxwell Caulfield, Debbie Mazur, Rory Cochrane, and more. This digitally remastered, fully loaded DVD will rock your world. The problem with a special edition type thing is that the flavor text on the back here doesn't tell you much about the actual thing.
Which we have discussed several times in the past. So hang on 1 second. Do you want me to see if I can find an actual plot summary? Or do you want to go in blind?
Let me go into this blind.
Okay.
I will just say that Maxwell Caulfield is not an actor I've heard of, but I've played a pair of very interesting computer games called Life is Strange that involve a character called Max Caulfield, but that one is a young woman.
Did you ever see Grease 2?
I have never seen Grease 2. Somehow I've missed it.
Okay.
Maybe because I didn't like Grease 1.
Well, them's fighting words.
Oh, she just gave me a look.
So, no, Maxwell Caulfield you would recognize if you had seen Grease 2. However, that's fine. I am so excited to share this movie with you.
Okay.
And yes, I am completely prepared for you not to enjoy it.
Okay. Well,
but I really like this one.
Well, there's a couple of names in here that, there's a couple of names in here that I recognize. I know Liv Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked her in things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who the rest are. I know some of these band names. I liked Toe the Wet Sprocket better than Ezra. The rest of these sound familiar. So, yeah, Gin Blossoms are all right.
Yeah.
And,
I saw them in concert. Did you know that?
I did not.
A few years ago, yeah.
A few years ago, the Gin Blossoms.
In New York, yeah.
Here in New York. What prompted you to see the Gin Blossoms?
A friend of mine said, "Hey, Gila, the Gin Blossoms are playing. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Hell yeah."
Wow, thank you for such an intense and interesting story about how you ended up seeing the Gin Blossoms.
I mean, that was really all it was. It was great, though.
They were good live?
They were good live, yeah. And it was lovely to hear them.
Okay.
It was a nice show.
Well, I think as we record this in a different part of the apartment, which is why we may sound a little different here, we've got a nice bidirectional mic we're using on a different computer. And when we come back to talk about it, I think we'll be back on our regular setup. But
yes, but right now we're not.
Right now we're not. So thank you for
indulging us.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I am looking forward to seeing Empire Records, if only so that next time you ask me, have you seen Empire Records?
You can say yes.
I can say yes.
So we're going to play some music at you, and when we come back, we'll be discussing 1995's Empire Records.
Oh, this is a 90s movie. Of course it's a 90s movie. Look at all the plaid in this picture.
Seriously, man.
All right, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right, 1995's Empire Records.
Indeed.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Gila.
Are we back?
We are back.
That's so exciting.
I'm excited.
So, once again, I'd like to wish you a happy Rex Manning Day.
Now
that you know what that means.
Now I know what this means. And yes, we will definitely have this episode out on Rex Manning Day.
Thank you, dear.
We're now recording this on the evening before.
Erev Rex Manning Day, if you will.
Or Rex Manning Eve.
Lail Rex Manning Day.
And then I will do the post on this tomorrow morning and get it out there.
Thank you. So Empire Records.
Empire Records,
which is...
Hey, Gila.
Hey, Rob.
Ask me if I've seen Empire Records.
Hey, Rob, have you seen Empire Records?
Yes.
That's so exciting.
Yes, I've seen it.
I'm so glad.
It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, it really is. And, now I'm just going to be like, hey, do you remember when this thing happened?
So.
Yes. So, all right. Well, as is often customary for us, I'm going to tell you how I encountered this movie for the first time.
Okay, tell me, because now we're all comfy. We're actually on our couch, which is not somewhere we've recorded before.
We never recorded before. Normally we record on the other side of the apartment, and we're sitting in folding chairs.
Yeah.
And this is much more comfortable.
This is much nicer. I don't know why we haven't been doing this since the start, but the place where we used to record is now where you are working from home.
That's correct. That's now my office.
Yes, that's not your office.
Our studio is now my office.
Yes, you've barged into my studio and took it over with your business and your just briefcases full of
important business documents. Yes.
That's actually what's written on them on
yes.
the outside is important business documents.
Absolutely.
Written in crayon. I don't know why, but but we are now on our sofa.
We are on the sofa. Changes everything, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling like we might get a lot less bitterness about the movies now.
Because we're more comfortable?
Because we're more comfortable.
Yeah. It's very possible. So. Empire Records.
Yes. How did you meet this movie?
I met this movie when I was 15 years old. And it was 2 nights before the end of summer camp. And all of us in my age division were sitting in the one room in camp that had a TV and a VCR. And we were watching movies all night. And we started watching Empire Records at 2:30 in the morning. And I will tell you that when the first time I saw Empire Records, I did not like it.
And why did you not like it?
Because we began watching Empire Records immediately after finishing The Shawshank Redemption. And there are not a lot of things in this world you can follow up after The Shawshank Redemption.
You mean lighthearted slacker comedy drama, The Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, poppy, coming of age, lighthearted sex romp. The Shawshank Redemption.
Andy Dufresne crawled through sewers laden with poop and popped up in a record store.
Right. So it was just like, it was jarring, the juxtaposition. And then I saw it again a couple years later. I don't remember specifically when, but I love this movie. It is endlessly quotable. It has amazing music. I will say we were watching the Ultimate Fan Remix, whatever the hell it's called, which has 16 minutes of extra footage.
Yeah. Now, I of course could not tell what footage was extra and what wasn't until you like tugged my sleeve and told me once or twice.
This wasn't in the movie. This wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know what this is. And there were places where it was actually kind of jarring. Like they put in an extra scene in the middle of the credits. So the credits stopped rolling, and then this thing happened, and then they started again. Like it was just very clearly out of place. Very similar to during the ending credits, when they just stopped the scroll for a minute, put in the names of the people who had worked on the Extreme Fan Remix version, and then continued with the credits as released in the theater.
Okay.
Deeply disconcerting. So I saw this movie when I was a teenage girl. Rob.
Yes.
You're a man in your 40s.
I am not a teenage girl.
You're definitely not a teenage girl.
I am not a teenage. I am not a girl.
All of these things are true. What did you think of Empire Records?
Well, it reminded me of a lot of things because I remember being the person I was when this came out. I mean, this was 1995. And that's what, like 1 year or 2 years after Clerks?
A year.
A year after
Clerks was 94.
Okay. Yeah, and when I saw Clerks, I was working in a convenience store. It was a job I had for a hot second, you know, like you do when you're young. And so, like, there was that element of, like, oh, here's these losers talking about how much they're losers for having my job, but I was cognizant that I was a loser, and so were they. And, like, it all came together. And this reminds me a lot. This basically strikes me as, like, Clerks with money and music licensing thrown at it. There is very much that atmosphere of like we're a bunch of young adults and it's the 90s and everything's bullshit and we don't know what we're doing with our lives and we don't know who we want to rub up against, and like there were a bunch of movies that were basically this, and this was an okay one. Like, had I seen this back then, I probably would have identified with one or another of the kids. Watching this now, my viewpoint character was totally the manager, Joe. It's like when you go back and watch Breakfast Club as an adult, and like I don't know if you feel this way, but like when I went back and watched Breakfast Club as a kid, I was like, yeah, these teenagers are awesome. These teenagers with like crow's feet and receding hairlines, they're awesome. I hope I'm that cool when I'm a teenager. And like I go back and watch that movie when I'm an adult, and I'm like, okay, the only sane man is the janitor, and all these pissant little kids are just whining at each other over bullshit that doesn't matter. I feel that watching this, like, but it was entertaining, and I really like Robin Tunney. Like, she is one of those people, I will watch her in anything. I will watch her like do a detergent commercial. And I really liked her in The Craft, and I think she might have done this right before The Craft. And I think that might be why she had to have a wig when she was in The Craft. And like in The Craft, she has like a really obvious wig through the whole thing. And I think it's because she buzzed her head for this movie.
The moment you realized, like watching you do that mental math was amazing.
Yeah, because The Craft was 95 as well.
It wasn't. I thought it was 96.
Late 95, early 96, maybe 96. I don't know, but yeah, The Craft was after this. I'm almost certain.
Yes.
But yeah, she was cool, and I think I would have identified with her character back then. A lot of the guys were just aggravating and annoying, and it's like, why are these people like? Why does everyone else tolerate these people? But you know, It feels like it makes sense because it is one of those movies where like a bunch of losers are thrown together to be losers together and pontificate over their loserdom and then somehow save the day at the end, maybe.
Yeah, pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have more feelings about the individual ones as we go through the cast, but all in all, I think this was a serviceable young adult sort of slacker, sort of life is bullshit 1990s movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. I know that I have a particular affection for it because of the circumstances through which I came to it. And also, in a lot of ways, if it weren't for movie quotes, my friends in college and I would just never have spoken. It's basically the long and the short of it. And Empire Records was the source of a lot of things that we had to say. A lot of things. I still say it today. You know, there was a line that someone said in the movie, and I poked you, and I said, I say that all the time. And you had never, like, you heard the inflection of the way that I say it, and now you know why.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's annoying that it's a line from Awful Mitchell. but there you go.
It's your line. You've made it your own.
Oh, thank you, dear.
There's also that sense of, like, there's this thing about, like, a workplace comedy where everyone's just sort of, like, they've got a bond beyond being coworkers. And, you know, cheesy story that you've seen a million times, done a million different ways. But, like, I liked how it worked in this one. And it reminds me a lot of a couple of places I've worked. When I was a teenager, I worked in a regional theater out on Long Island. And, you know, that was a crew that I really bonded with, as you do when you're a theater kid and you're working among theater adults.
So true.
There was a bit of that when I worked at a startup called MakerBot, in its very early, scrappy, rough and ready days. That was, I think, as close as I've gotten as an adult at a workplace. It's something I'd really like to find again someday, at least in a day job. I mean, it's also like I have those feelings about our friends at Off the Hook and the Hope Conference and, you know, that whole crew.
So, okay, I'm now going to drop the traditional spoiler warning because the first place I want to go, actually, is the very last scene, which is out of time in the movie.
Are you talking about the last scene during the credits when they're sitting on a stoop and talking about bands?
No, although that is great.
Was that in the original or was that added?
I do not know. I never watched through the end of the credits. No, I mean when they're all up dancing on the roof to the song "This Is the Day" by the I love this soundtrack, by the way.
It's serviceable. There are a couple of songs I like in it. The rest kind of like bleed together for me.
I get it. It's not your style of music. It is 100% mine, though. So, so when they're all up there and they're all dancing together, and for me, it kind of bleeds out of these are the characters, and it turns into just these are the people. And it feels to me like the cast bonded in the same way. And they're mostly all up there and dancing and being goofy. And it just seems correct.
Yeah, it's
even,
like the...
even the characters that didn't get along during the movie...
Right.
...are just up there doing their thing.
No, it's a nice little, like, it's a cinematic version of a curtain call.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, at the end of the movie Camp, when they're all just dancing in the number and as the credits are rolling... There was a movie called The Imposters that I believe I've shown you with Stanley Tucci and Oliver Platt. And it takes place on this cruise ship. And then at the end, the entire cast is just doing this conga line through the cruise ship set. And then like around the set to the back of the flats. And you see like the filming equipment and stuff. And that's just happening while the credits are rolling. And it's not the characters, it's the actors. And it's just a fun little like wave goodbye from the movie.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I dig it.
So with that segue, are you ready to dive into the cast?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we'll go from the bottom up because we've had so much more luck that way. Okay, so we start with Ben Bodie as Mitchell Beck.
Okay, now, as is the case with these kind of movies, you're going to have to remind me who is who.
Okay, Mitchell was the owner.
The owner.
Yes, Horrible Mitchell. You should have seen this store when my grandfather had it. Beck's Bath and Bidet.
Yeah.
And then my hippie father turned it into a record store. That's Mitchell. Not a whole lot to say.
No, he's the standard, like, rich jerk character who somehow, like, they need to beat in the story, and then at the end they do. He just like gives up and yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, there's not a lot to say.
yeah, didn't recognize him from anything else.
Next we have James Chemo Wills as Eddie.
Chemo. Like the treatment?
Kimo.
That. And you did finger quotes, so is that in quotes in his name?
It is.
So he named himself this, or this is a nickname? They called him Chemo?
Buddy, I do not know. Hang on. Let me check this on the Wikipedia.
Does he have a brother called Chelation? What?
That's it. Huh. I have no idea.
Okay, well, and he was Mitchell.
No, he was Eddie.
Eddie.
And
Eddie was Mitchell.
And
Eddie, you were Mitchell, and I were Mitchell. We are all Mitchell on this blessed day.
Yes.
No, okay, he was Eddie.
He was Eddie.
Which one was Eddie?
Eddie was the one who was stoned all the time and had the memorable line, "Hey, you forgot your thingy."
Yeah, a lot of these 90s comedies had that character who was just the stoned guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was never my favorite character.
So it was very interesting because I don't think he washed his hair during all of filming. And and I said to you, "Do you recognize him?"
And I said I didn't.
And I said, "Well, you should. Do you remember Dave from the Tao of Steve?"
And I said, no, I don't, because I do not remember a thing from the Tao of Steve, apart from ice cream kisses and a lot of Donalogue squinting.
Well, he was in the Tao of Steve.
Okay, I will take your word for it. Maybe I will listen back to our episode. Maybe I will not.
Either way. Okay, next on the list we have Liv Tyler as Corey Mason.
Liv Tyler. You know, because I was somebody who was adolescent in the 90s and attracted to women, yes, I know who Liv Tyler is. Yeah, she was not bad in this. Like, she came out, I think, when she started acting and stuff, and like didn't really make much of a mark for me. She was basically that one that was hanging around with Alicia Silverstone in the Aerosmith videos. Mm-hmm. I only got to like appreciate her acting much later in Lord of the Rings. But yeah, she was not bad in this for what the part was. It was fun when she like flipped out and went psycho and screamed.
Yes.
But that's about it.
It was also, we'll get to it. Okay.
I mean, her character was not very likable.
No.
Although you could tell they were kind of trying for that.
For her to be likable?
I think the movie was trying to make her likable.
I would agree. I don't know how well they succeeded, but we'll get there. Okay, next is Brendan Sexton as Warren.
Uh-huh.
Don't call me Warren. My name's not fucking Warren.
But they never say what his name is.
Correct.
So he just keeps. Yeah, he was all right in that part. He did what that part needed someone to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I have to ask you something though about Warren.
Uh-huh.
Was that thing he was doing with the magnet legit?
Thing he was doing with the magnet?
Yes.
Oh, to get the CDs out of the security things. I think. I don't have experience with that particular method. But yeah, he was the shoplifter.
He was the shoplifter.
And I am aware that such things may have happened in that era. And maybe if people shoplifted less from record stores, there would still be record stores. Who knows? But I am not one to take a moral high ground on that particular issue. I'll just leave it at that.
Just to jump out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing that occurred to me, is this movie is 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all of a sudden so incredibly nostalgic.
Yeah.
Because we don't have those anymore.
Well, the funny thing is, like, this movie inspired me to, while we were watching, I looked up on my phone the record store, the independently owned record store that I went to all the time as a kid. And what the hell, I'll say where it is because I don't live near it anymore. It's a place called Looney Tunes in Babylon, Long Island. That's Tunes. Tunes. And it was always, like, there were places to get CDs and tapes. I was not into vinyl, still not. But there were places to get music that were, you know, big chain stores. But Looney Tunes was always, in the 90s when I was a kid, the place to go for actual conversations about music with the people behind the counter. They had a whole wall of bootlegs, which I'm not sure if they still do. If they do, I'm blowing up their spot. But they do still exist. And I was very happy to learn this. And apparently they're closed right now to people walking into the store, but you can still shop from them online. And I wonder if they're as important to music fans today as they were to me when I was a kid.
Well, you got me thinking also about the local mini chain in my hometown. Shout out to Homer's Records and Tapes.
Homer's
Music. And like that was my go-to bar mitzvah gift, was a gift certificate to Homer's.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently Homer's does indeed still exist, which just makes me incredibly happy. So yes, shout out to Homer's Music. Okay, back to the cast list.
Back to the cast list.
Coyote Shivers as Burko.
Was he the one with the hair?
Yes.
He was like the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of Deb.
Mm-hmm. He was the one with the vest and the hair. And, okay, I've been waiting to tell you this. This is my favorite fun fact in the whole entire world.
Okay.
Okay, when they were shooting this movie, Coyote Shivers
was pregnant.
Was married to B.B. Buell.
B.B. Buell.
B.B. Buell.
B.B. Buell.
Hey, Rob, do you know who B.B. Buell is?
I thought that was a kind of gun.
In addition to that, B.B. Buell is the mother of Liv Tyler.
Ah.
Coyote Shivers was Liv Tyler's stepdad while they were shooting this movie.
How old was he?
In his late 20s, I think. It was creepy. There's no question about it being weird.
I mean, okay, so I guess, okay.
Coyote Shivers has been predominantly a musician, which is why you may not have seen him in a lot of stuff. He also was married for a time to Polly Perrette of NCIS, and they have had really crazy like stuff going on between the two of them. And if you Google him, you'll wind up with like a bunch of conspiracy theory stuff about her.
Is she the one in the oh no, we're getting hacked scene where they got two idiots on one keyboard?
Very possibly.
That's the only NCIS thing I know.
With the bangs?
She's like, yeah, she's got like the goth, like Betty Page wig.
Yep, that's her.
Done up in pigtails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Yeah, there's the scene on YouTube. If you search Two Idiots, One Keyboard, you'll see a scene from NCIS with her and this other guy. And they're like, oh no, we're getting hacked. And like, we've got to work faster. So like, he sidles up next to her and starts banging away on the keyboard that she's typing on. Like two people can type anything on one keyboard.
I mean, people know that computer keyboards and piano keyboards work differently, right?
Not if they're directing NCIS. And then like the guy saves the day by just unplugging the monitor, which somehow stops them getting hacked. Like,
I don't even know as much about this stuff as you do, and that hurts my head. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on. Next is, it says Ethan Randall as Mark. You may know him better as Ethan Embry.
It does not ring a bell either way.
Okay.
Or either way.
You may recognize his face from such films as That Thing You Do, where he played the bass player.
Okay.
Can't Hardly Wait, which you have not seen.
Okay.
Okay, you may not recognize him.
There were like three guys in this movie that all had the same 90s hair, and it was hard to tell them apart.
Fair enough. He was just so goofy in this.
So, was he the goofball that was daydreaming about Guar?
Yes.
Okay.
Guar.
I do like Guar, and it was a welcome sight to see them turn up in this movie.
Okay. Next, Renee Zellweger as Gina. If you had to pick anyone in this cast to win multiple Oscars, who would it have been?
I've seen Renee Zellweger in stuff, and she's always been like just kind of there. She's always got that face that looks like she just smelled some poop. Or like, who stepped in something, like she's smelling something bad. But in this movie, I didn't hate her. Like I think she was okay in this, and I don't think she's okay in most of the stuff I see her in.
Well, okay.
I don't quite understand her character's arc.
Yeah.
Like she's the kind of standard issue slutty friend.
Mm-hmm.
And being shamed for the sluttiness, and acts like she's all confident in it, and then later admits that no, she's not. and I'm not sure what to make of it. But she was all right.
She was all right. Robin Tooney as Deborah.
I like Robin Tooney a lot, but like seeing her with a buzzed head in this, nothing comes to mind for me so much as when Rose McGowan buzzed her head and made that her Twitter avatar. Like there's a very strong resemblance there. But yeah, they basically made her like a mildly suicidal Daria in this movie.
That's a well, that's an elevator pitch if ever there was one. I mean, this predates Daria, but
yeah, and the whole thing with her character was like kind of making light of the fact that she just tried to commit suicide, and failed at it, and then everyone's just like, oh, okay, whatever, and I think in real life that would require more of a constructive reaction than happened in this movie. But like maybe it wasn't terrible for its time. I don't think you could do that in a movie now.
You could not do that in a movie now. But then...
Yeah, 25 years ago, you could make the suicidal character like a gag, I guess.
Yeah.
But and then they have a funeral for her, and she spends the whole movie basically being the Daria, where she's like, I'm so much smarter than any of this crap that's going on around me, but I'm going to tolerate it, and I'll just snark at everyone. But yeah, but she was Robin Tunney, and I will watch her do whatever on screen.
Up next, we have Johnny Whitworth as AJ.
Which one was AJ?
Long hair. The one who was busy trying to find the right time to tell Corey he loved her.
Uh-huh.
The one who glued the quarters to the floor.
Uh-huh. I
don't have to explain my art to you.
Yeah. I could watch a cut of this movie without that character in it. You're giving me such a look.
He's so pretty. He's so pretty.
The movie has some interesting takes on, like, I've told you I love you and you're not reciprocating those feelings, and then all I have to do is like get angry and then you'll love me. Like that whole thing is a bit ew. Then the movie like sends him up on the roof to fix the sign, and he's not on screen for a while, and that's okay. Yeah, I didn't like his character.
That's fine. I mean,
did I just break your heart?
No, you didn't at all. It's fine. Because the thing is, I don't like his character because his character is barely existent. We'll get to this when we get to the plot.
Like, I do like gluing quarters to the floor. I mean, that's a classic prank.
I don't feel the need to explain my art to you, Warren. But the thing is that the plot here is relative, and the characters are relative. Like, there's no depth to these people. The characters are functionally interchangeable. And, when you try to get plot and backstory, it doesn't really work. So I can't say that I didn't like his character because, like, there wasn't one. The only difference is he was playing somebody named AJ.
Yeah, what was there I didn't like?
Fair. Okay.
And I don't think he should have gotten the girl at the end, but of course he did.
Because he was pretty. Next on the list, we have Rory Cochrane as Lucas.
And there's a character who I disliked the entire time. Just strongly. And the movie starts with him, including that longer scene that you told me wasn't in the original.
Correct.
But it's like, there's no real reason that is given. Like, you can see the process, but there's no real, like, prompt for us to buy that, okay, he's going to take all the money out of the till and go to Atlantic City and gamble it on a big dice roll. Like, I think the movie just, like, does that without really earning it. And then spends the rest of the movie with him, like, just kind of being the beatnik on the vibrating on his own level. But it's all just aggravating. Like, why is he doing that? Why are the rest of these people tolerating him? If I were writing the movie, he probably would have, gotten taken away in handcuffs 5 minutes in, and then the movie would be over.
But some of the things that he says,
like,
what's with today?
Yeah, I mean, he's got some good lines, but, like, the character doesn't deserve to be there.
That's fair.
And the movie plays it like he does.
Okay, but can I tell you something funny?
Sure.
So a few weeks ago, our baby nephew, had a cold, and I got a text from my brother saying, you know what I like to do when the baby is sick is take lines from Empire Records and replace the word Lucas with the word mucus. As in, mucus is it true you committed the perfect crime? And then I said, mucus, what's the money doing in Atlantic City? So that's just a funny thing.
Yeah.
Very quotable, completely reprehensible.
Mm-hmm. And like the movie tries to do some like paternal stuff later with him and Joe, but like that kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And again, the movie doesn't really earn it. It just dangles it in front of you and goes, but look this, and I don't give a crap.
Yeah, a lot of it's very disjointed. Up next, we have Debbie Mazar as Jane.
And Jane was the one who worked for
Rex Manning. Yes.
Yeah, she was kind of a was she like a dollar store Parker Posey?
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Pound shop Parker Posey.
Okay, she was in Goodfellas, Little Man Tate, Singles. She was in L.A. Law.
I don't like any of these.
She dated Paul Rubens?
Huh. Well, yeah, somebody has to.
So
I think I've seen her in something else, but I can't place her.
I'm sure you have.
But yeah, in this, she was kind of, that's how she struck me.
Yeah. Okay. So I literally cannot think of anything that you would have known her in, but regardless, she's in a really good episode of SVU. Next on the list, we have Maxwell Caulfield as Rex Manning.
And yeah, I think I said this in the opening, but Max Caulfield for me is the main character in a game called Life is Strange that I really like.
Wait, that was the game that you were showing me.
Yeah, and the main character is this young woman who finds out that she could stop time and rewind and redo earlier decisions, and gets into this whole thing. But a very good game, and the prequel is also very good. But yeah, her name is Max Caulfield in the game. Mm-hmm. This is a different Max Caulfield. So
Maxwell Caulfield, playing Rex Manning.
He was kind of the off-brand Val Kilmer.
See, what occurred to me as we were watching it yesterday, because don't ever think you can't learn something new from a movie you've seen a million times. Mm-hmm. This character is supposed to be David Cassidy.
Oh, okay.
Think about it.
Because they were talking about him being a child star on a show called Family Something.
The Family Way. And he sang on The Family Way. Mm-hmm. And then he became this increasingly self-parodic musician.
Uh-huh. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
It 100% occurred to me that he's David Cassidy yesterday.
Okay, so happy David Cassidy Day.
Yeah. And we complete the cast with Anthony LaPaglia. LaPaglia?
One or the other.
As Joe Reeves.
He's the guy, and my version of this movie is from his point of view.
Every minute that I don't call the cops, I look like a bigger banana head.
Yeah, I feel his pain in this movie. But yeah, I'm somehow rooting for him. Anthony LaPaglia, he's a very likable actor in stuff like this.
He absolutely is. And I mean, this is functionally the same character he played in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Mm-hmm. Except he was the cop in that.
Yeah.
But now, in this movie, like when he first came on screen and it was a distance shot, I'm like, is Judd Nelson in this? He's totally got that look going.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was cool. I liked him.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the plot?
Sure.
Here we go. It's a lot. Okay.
Okay, well, how fast can we get through this?
Let's do this. The film depicts 24 hours in the lives of the employees at an independent record store in Delaware.
Delaware. Okay, I was asking where is this supposed to take place, and like it's somewhere. The only clue is that it's somewhere that Lucas could get to Atlantic City on a motorcycle from.
So pretty much the entire northern half of the eastern seaboard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right, we're in Delaware.
All right, we're in Delaware.
Yep.
Yep.
The perpetually exasperated store manager, Joe, allows employee Lucas to close the store for the first time. While counting the day's receipts in Joe's office, Lucas discovers that Empire Records is about to be sold and converted into a branch of Music Town, a large national chain. In an effort to keep the store independent, Lucas takes the day's cash receipts of $9,000 to a casino in Atlantic City to quadruple it and save the store. Though he doubles the money on his first roll, he loses it all on the second. Lucas is found the following morning by opening manager AJ and pothead employee Mark. He confides in the pair about the previous night's events just before Joe arrives and quickly receives phone calls from both the bank and the store owner, Mitchell Beck, asking about the missing deposit. Other employees arrive. See, this is great. This is a really good recap. Thank you, Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. Other employees arrive, including overachieving high school student Corey and her uninhibited best friend, Gina. Hostile employee Deb, who appears to have survived an apparent suicide attempt, also arrives, as well as Deb's boyfriend and coworker, Burko. Joe confronts Lucas about the missing deposit, and Lucas confirms the money is gone. Part-time employee Eddie, who also works at a pizza parlor, arrives as Joe explains to the employees his anti-Music Town plan. He had saved enough money to invest and become part owner of the store to save it, but will now be $9,000 short when he covers for the missing money with Mitchell. Joe is distracted from dealing with the crisis due to a scheduled store event. Rex Manning, a 1980s pop idol, is due to arrive at the store for an autograph session to promote his new album. The staff is unenthused and reacts by mocking Rex Manning Day, and ultimately many of the fans showing up to meet him are either older women or gay men. Even Rex's assistant Jane reveals her distaste for Rex's music. Though detained by Joe, Lucas takes the opportunity to apprehend a belligerent young shoplifter who identifies himself only as Warren Beatty. Mm-hmm. Encouraged by Gina, Corey indulges her schoolgirl crush on Rex by attempting to seduce him, but is humiliated by his response.
Yeah, and that was a bit creepy.
It really was.
Whole thing. This movie sets everything up, pretty quickly, mm-hmm. one thing after another. It's almost Kevin Smithy. Like I kept thinking of Clerks in this, at least the original Clerks, the good one. Because it's
no
just,
love for Clerks 2?
No, but God, can a person write fan fiction of their own stuff? Mm-hmm. He totally did. But anyway, the dynamic of Clerks, where it's just all about, it's not really about where they are so much as just their interactions and bickering back and forth, and stuff like that. There's a very heavy flavor to that here. I mean, if you watch this like with the color saturation down so it's in black and white, and turn down the resolution somehow so it looks like it's filmed on like the cheapest film you could buy in New Jersey in 1992 or whatever, then it could be mistaken for Clerks with more people. The plot and stuff is almost incidental. They're somehow going to save the store at the end or mm-hmm. whatever, and so everything that happens is just there to prompt people's like snarky lines back and forth. And yeah, it mostly works, I think.
Yeah.
Except, like, what the hell is going on with this movie? Like, talking about 17-year-old Liv Tyler's character, offering herself to Rex Manning for her first time, and
it was squicky.
It was squicky. That's the word.
And it was also something that they went with an alternate take mm-hmm. from the theatrical version, right, what went up on the DVD, mm-hmm. and it was creepier.
So the theatrical version,
like
in the scene, for those who haven't watched the movie, to set it up, she gets Rex Manning like in the back room to have his lunch, and like it's pretty funny when she demands to be the employee who brings him his lunch, because she's got that quiet little sweet sweet girl next door type thing going on, and then she's like, I'm bringing him his lunch, and just completely snaps, and it's entertaining.
So she set up this whole thing, and there's wine and there's a candle, and she's talking to Rex Manning, and then like all of a sudden she's taking her clothes off, mm-hmm. and she's standing there in her underwear. And in the theatrical version, and by the way, Rex Manning is just really gross. He's just gross, and he's got his napkin tucked into his collar. Mm-hmm. And in the theatrical version of the movie, he pushes his chair back, unzips his pants, and just kind of points in the area and goes, rock and roll.
And then she quickly changes her mind.
Is horrified and runs out of the room.
Runs off. And in this version,
in the fan remix version, he says, "I hope you like the taste of blue cheese," as he picks up a bottle of salad dressing. And then she's horrified and runs out of the room. And yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. So this has just happened, and then AJ chooses that moment to confess his love for Corey, which she rejects.
Right.
After Gina and Corey argue about their respective reputations, Gina has sex with Rex.
Like you do.
Like you do.
In these situations.
In the situation where your best friend has told you that she's been saving herself for her teen idol, and then you go and have sex with him.
Mm-hmm. But you're doing it with a Renee Zellweger face, so you might be smelling the blue cheese. I don't
know. When they are discovered by the staff, AJ starts a fight with Rex. Gina reveals the furious Corey's addiction to amphetamines.
Which also came out of nowhere. It's, diet pills. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
And, she's an overachiever. There are 24 usable hours in every day.
She just got into Harvard.
Yeah.
And she makes cupcakes for people. And yeah.
Yeah, because she doesn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Corey hysterically trashes the store, and Joe throws Rex out.
Exhumed Rex.
Why don't you all just fade away, is what he says in the theatrical version. They cut that here. Deb reacts uncharacteristically to the breakdown of the seemingly perfect Corey by cheering her up, and in return, Corey holds a mock funeral for Deb, which the whole staff attends. The troubled shoplifter Warren returns to the store with a gun, ultimately loaded with blanks, and Lucas diffuses the situation by revealing that he himself was a troubled youth until he was taken in by Joe. No, that's not correct.
You're taking issue with the wiki summary here.
I am, because Lucas does not diffuse that situation by explaining that he was a troubled teenager. No. He mentions that during the funeral because everybody starts talking about their problems at the funeral. Mm-hmm. Deb shows up, is literally talking to Warren, and she says, "I want to talk to you, Warren." And he said, "Talk to my gun." So she does. Mm-hmm. It's been established that she's suicidal. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And she's the one who gets Warren to put the gun down. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I don't like the way this sentence is constructed.
Okay.
And Warren's like, "You guys all think you're so superior because you work at a freaking record store." And someone said, "Wait, you want to work at a record store?" And he said, "Why would you ever hire me? Who's ever going to give me a job?" So, yeah, they basically, Joe offers Warren a job at the store. And they make him a name tag, and it's cute.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens, and yeah, he runs in with the gun, waving it around, and the cops take him away, but they're like, "Oh, there were only blanks in the gun, so we can't really do anything."
There are blanks in the gun, and he's a minor, so whatever.
Yeah, the cops in this movie have very strange ideas of procedure.
Mm-hmm. After the police leave, Lucas admits defeat and suggests confessing the truth to Mitchell. However, the staff and Jane, who has since quit working for Rex, pool their own $3,000 to replace the missing money. Suddenly inspired, Mark runs in front of the store to a news crew covering the holdup and announces on live TV a late-night benefit party to, quote, save the empire. The store opens its doors, sells beer and their own property, and collects donations during an impromptu concert by Burko and Gina. Joe hands the money to Mitchell, who confesses that he hates the store, agreeing to work out a 100% sale to Joe.
Yeah, that was it smacked of a script writer running out of paper and going, okay, I could go out and buy more paper, or I could just wrap this shit up now with the space I've got left.
Doesn't anybody work in this store?
And there was a nice touch with the owner trying to run the register himself and not knowing how.
Mm-hmm. And that's when he said that. Mm-hmm. And I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I say to my friends, doesn't anybody work here? Corey finally catches up with a dejected AJ on the roof fixing the Empire Record sign and admits that she loves him. And he reveals that he has decided to attend art school in Boston so he can be near her at Harvard.
Ew.
They kiss as the staff ends the long day with a dance party on the roof. Mm-hmm. So, that's, an excellent plot summary. Way to go, Wikipedia, except for a couple of issues, which we've discussed.
And then those two guys are sitting on the curb during the credits arguing about bands, is Primus punk and all this stuff. And God, I wasted so much of my life at that age having those sorts of discussions.
Didn't everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did.
Yeah, it's kind of universal. I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, whatever bands you were talking about might have been different, but everybody had those conversations. Okay, so there are two things that didn't come up here that I definitely want to talk about. First of all, the soundtrack, which was amazing.
It was okay. I mean, there were a couple of things that were familiar to me. A lot of it sort of blended together as the stuff I wasn't listening to in the 90s, but that was getting all the radio airplay. There was that very good cover of the song Money by who it's on the tip of my brain who covered that. But
hang on.
But I have that cover somewhere.
Flying Lizards.
Flying Lizards. The one with the disaffected female vocalist going, "The best things in life are free."
But you can give them to the birds and bees. I want money. Yes. It's, oh my God. All the music on this I really, really enjoyed. This is also the first place where I think I ever heard Romeo and Juliet by Dire Straits.
This seems like a soundtrack that would have been like the BMG Record Club selection of the month at some point.
It may well have been, actually. And obviously the fact that they worked in a record store and they were able to really organically work in a lot of music to it was great. And also the way that they had the different characters choosing music for what was happening in the store and other people getting to exercise their veto.
That was cute. And all in all, this is a better record store movie than Josie and the Pussycats. Such a look she just gave me, listeners.
It was funny, though, because I said Empire Records and I showed you the DVD case and you said this looks like a school movie.
Yeah.
Not a school movie. Okay, so the one thing that looking back on this, I feel a little bit differently about.
Okay.
The characters are not drawn differently along gender lines. None of the characters are well developed.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's got like their one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas is weird and Mark is stoned and Mark is goofy and stoned and Eddie is like stoned. And Gina is slutty and Deb is depressed. And
Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines.
Exactly.
Raphael is cool but rude.
Basically. But there were a lot of really weird attitudes around like sex and consent in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember when Mark just tried to like kiss that girl who was standing there because she happened to be standing there?
Yeah, and she was just like, "Oh, you," because this was a '90s movie,
right? And then like,
there's another part where like one of the guys basically wraps his legs around Deb at the register, and she's just like, "Oh, cut it out," and not, "Oh, hostile work environment."
Right. And it's also a question of like, I didn't necessarily grok it as squicky at the time.
Mm-hmm. Is
that because I was a teenager, or is that because it was a slightly different environment then?
Little column A, little column B.
I think you're probably right. Okay. So overall,
mm-hmm.
What did you think?
Overall, it was a fun movie. It was a nice distraction. I don't know if it's something that I would be like a capital F fan of, but it was a nice way to spend an hour and a half
hour and a half.
Yeah, it was a nice way to spend an hour and a half, and it's not one in which I care what happens to any of these characters after the credits roll, but yeah, Robin Tunney.
Well, I would like to thank you for sharing this piece of nostalgia with me, because that's definitely what it was. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And this, I'm glad this went better than the original attempt at episode 202.
You and me
of
both.
Modern Technology Watches.
Good heavens.
We could mention that we last night video conferenced with our friends Gabe and Jen from the Dork Web.
You may remember them from episode 201, Back to the Future.
Yep. Guests here on the previous episode, and they will be guests again when we get around to Back to the Future 2.
It's so true.
But it turned out that Jen also enjoys this movie and made a prop replica from it in days gone by. And she showed it to us on webcam, and it was great. She has an Empire Records employee ID card on a lanyard.
It says, Jennifer, I work here.
Yeah, and it is pretty amazing. And that's the kind of geeks we are here at and around Modern technology watches.
Exactly. So thank you for taking this particular journey with us. If you've got something to say about Empire Records or life in general, feel free to drop us a note at watches@modern.technology. Find us on Twitter at mtpodcastnet.
And look forward to next episode when it's my turn to pick. And I think I have a good idea this time. But let's leave that for later. And we will also get Back to the Future 2 in at some point soon.
Yes.
We hope you're all enjoying whatever it is that you're doing with yourself at this point in our history.
Mm-hmm.
A good way to spend your time is listening to podcasts. Thank you for inviting us into your homes and ears and audio induction devices.
Yes. Maybe your cars, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we thank you for spending time with us and traveling with us, apparently to Delaware. Who knew?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
We ended up in Delaware.
Hi. I'm in Delaware.
Delaware. So, for Modern Technology Watches, this has been Rob Vincent.
Gila Drazen.
And we will see you in the future.
We'll see you at the movies. Well, probably not. Oh, man, that's depressing.
Oh, way to bring the whole room down right at the end.
I know. Oh. I'm sorry.
Man, I was having such a good day.
I know, me too. Ugh. I fucked it all up.
You've been listening to episode 202 of Modern Technology Watches with Gila Drazen and Rob Vincent. Go to modern.technology on the web for more info on this show, our other work, and our social media blue cheese. Our music is The Promise by Torley Wong, released Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0. Find more from Torley at torley.com. Thank you, Torley. Content from wikipedia.org is used under Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0. This podcast is released under Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0, produced by modern.technology. Send us email at watches@modern.technology. And hey, if you like us, tell somebody.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta talk it to the microphone, because then you're over here and the thing doesn't. And if it's not, and then you're here, and then that works again.
Oh, Pierre, you shouldn't have come. You are flirting with danger. They will surely find you out.